Hey everyone, history buffs and war documentary enthusiasts. Today we're diving into a conflict that often gets overshadowed by the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Battle of Kota Bharu. It all happened in December 1941, while tensions were already sky-high. Whispers of Japanese aggression filled the air, and British forces in Malaya were on edge. But a crucial decision to hold back on a defensive operation might have just thrown them right into the fire. Let's jump back in time and see how a small town in Malaya became the first battleground in the Pacific War, even before America entered the fight. While the world watched in horror at the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, a lesser-known drama unfolded over 6,000 miles away in Kota Bharu, Malaya. Rumors of nearby Japanese troop movements had British forces on edge, but on December 7, 1941, a crucial defensive operation was delayed, hinging on uncertain American support. Unbeknownst to them, the US would soon be embroiled in its own Pacific nightmare. As the clock struck midnight the following day, British Indian soldiers, the first line of defense in Malaya, spotted 3 ominous Japanese ships. Thrust into the role of the Pacific Theater's first Allied combatants, these soldiers would face the brunt of the coming storm even before war had been formally declared. As 1941 waned, a sense of foreboding gripped military minds around the world. A rising sun, emboldened by expansionist dreams, cast a long shadow: Imperial Japan. British intelligence buzzed with warnings. A Japanese attack on Pacific colonies seemed imminent. Malaya, now part of Malaysia, stood at the epicenter of this brewing storm. A training ground for British and American forces, it was also the cornerstone of British power in the Asia-Pacific. This resource-rich region held vital supplies for the coming war, particularly tin and rubber. To counter the Japanese threat, the British devised Operation Matador, a daring plan that defied Thailand's neutrality. The objective: preempt a Japanese invasion by crossing the border. However, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill hesitated. His strategy hinged on American support, a question mark contingent on the US entering the war. The British found themselves in a tightening vice. Early December saw the departure of Admiral Tom Phillips, the linchpin of Malaya's defences at Kota Bharu. This left Air Marshal Sir Robert Brooke Popham, commander of British Far East forces, in a precarious position. Fearful of provoking Japan into war, Brooke Popham made a fateful decision on December 7th. Operation Matador, the preemptive strike plan, was delayed for another night. With key leadership absent, the stage was set for a night of turmoil as events spiraled out of control. The 3rd Battalion, 17th Dogra Regiment, under Lieutenant Colonel G.A. Preston, guarded a 10-mile stretch of Kota Bharu's northeastern coast. Just past midnight on December 8, 1941, patrolling soldiers spotted 3 ominous giants on the horizon: Japanese ships, the Awazisan Maru, Ayatosan Maru, and Sakura Maru. These weren't mere freighters, they carried a storm within. Over 5,000 battle-hardened veterans of the China War, the Takumi Detachment, led by Major General Hiroshi Takumi. Anchoring a mere 2 miles offshore, the Japanese revealed their intent. An invasion was imminent. Major General Berthwold Wells, Key's 8th Indian Infantry Brigade, backed by 4 mountain howitzers, formed the primary defense. Additional support came from the 73rd Field Battery and the Royal Artillery at a nearby airfield. Concrete shelters housing machine gun teams lined the beaches, supported by trenches, barbed wire, and mines. Yet, the vast coastline meant fewer soldiers and weapons per stretch. If the enemy breached the line, holding them would be a daunting task. Another crucial weakness: the absence of steel wire barriers across the creeks leading to the sea, creating further gaps in the defences. In a desperate attempt to plug these holes, soldiers quickly built makeshift shelters to mask the vulnerabilities. As the Japanese ships loomed closer, the men of Kota Bharu braced for battle, unaware they were about to stand at the precipice of World War II. Fury erupts on the beaches. Moments shattered the night's stillness. A cacophony of engine roars and thunderous gunfire erupted as Japanese troops stormed ashore. While the devastating attack on Pearl Harbor unfolded across the Pacific, another clash, the first military encounter between Britain and Japan, raged on the northeastern coast of Kota Bharu. Major General Billy Key, leading the 9th Indian Division, stood firm against the impending invasion. His objective: hold the Jitra Line, a network of defensive positions at all costs, especially a crucial airfield. Across the churning waters, Japan's battle-hardened 18th Division, specialists in amphibious assaults, launched their attack. But treacherous seas proved unforgiving, capsizing many landing craft. 10 Lockheed Hudson bombers, seeking to bolster the defense, roared through the sky, their mission clear: strike the heart of the Japanese carrier fleet. As the first wave of Japanese soldiers surged forward, the Dogra Regiment erupted from their pillboxes, unleashing relentless artillery barrages and a hail of machine gun fire. A brutal struggle ensued, with hand-to-hand combat testing the resolve of both sides. Though outnumbered, the valiant defenders inflicted heavy casualties on the Japanese ranks. However, the invaders managed to breach the line on the estuary's south bank. As dawn painted the sky red, the Japanese secured a foothold on the blood-soaked beach, forcing the Dogra Regiment to retreat to their secondary defensive line. Retreat under fire the second day of battle saw the Japanese onslaught intensify. Their overwhelming numbers and firepower began to wear down the British. Relentlessly pushing forward, they focused their attacks on the crucial airfield defences. British pilots, flying Hawker Hurricanes, bravely fought back. However, vastly outnumbered by Japanese aircraft, their once formidable force dwindled. Despite the surprise attack, damage, communication issues, and confusion within the chain of command, the men of the 18th Indian Brigade fought with unwavering courage. Yet Brigadier Key's counterattacks failed to stem the tide. Gradually, the relentless Japanese advance wore down the defenders. By late afternoon on December 9th, the situation became critical. Faced with a difficult choice, Major General Key made the tactical decision to withdraw from Kota Bharu to preserve his forces for future battles. The loss weighed heavily on him, and he later requested a transfer from Malaya. Shrouded in darkness, the retreating British forces faced constant pressure from the pursuing Japanese. Meanwhile, the enemy secured their hold on the abandoned airfield, the epicenter of the fighting. The fall of Kota Bharu had far-reaching consequences. The captured airfield became a strategic launching pad for further Japanese operations. Malaya folds, a bicycle blitz. The Battle of Kota Bharu marked a dramatic opening act for the British Empire in the Pacific War. It was a stark display of Japan's expansionist ambitions and the relentless fighting style they would employ throughout the conflict. However, the Japanese approach to conquering the rest of Indochina took a surprising turn. Instead of relying on tanks and heavy vehicles, they adopted a peculiar low-tech strategy. Utilizing threats and intimidation, Japanese soldiers seized bicycles from local Malayan villagers. With Kota Bharu secured, they planned their next move, a southward push towards Singapore, primarily on bicycles or by foot. This unconventional tactic, relying on human endurance rather than mechanized warfare, would persist throughout much of the Malayan campaign. A brutal prelude. The attack on British Malaya predated Pearl Harbor by hours, making the UK the first to declare war on Japan. Japanese soldiers, chronicling the Battle of Kota Bharu in their journals, labeled it one of the most violent encounters of the entire Malayan campaign, and for good reason. Despite the swift victory, the Japanese paid a hefty price. Securing their objective took longer than anticipated, with significant casualties sustained in just over a day. Kota Bharu's fall marked the brutal beginning of the Malayan campaign, a conflict extending well into February 1942. The human cost was staggering. An estimated 13,234 Allied troops perished, and over 130,000 were captured, destined for the harsh realities of Japanese POW camps. The Battle of Kota Bharu wasn't just a military clash. It was the grim prelude to a war that would rage for over 4 years. Thank you for watching.